Welcome back to the Ballbusters podcast. Sorry for taking some time off, but scheduling conflicts. We're in school. It happens. Kind of a dead period, but we're back.
History midterm.
Yeah. We take school seriously, kind of. But we're back, and we got a whole lot of news today. We're just gonna jump right into some NFL news. So free agency's wrapped up, and there was a whole lot of moves. And as a Steelers fan, it kind of hurts to see a guy like Bud Dupree walk. Bud Dupree signed a 5-year, $82 million deal with the Titans with $35 million guaranteed. That's a huge deal. I knew the Steelers weren't going to pay him, but seeing the kind of season and a half he just had, it's hard to watch him walk. Also, re-signing Juju, big dub, $8 million for 1 year. That's one of my favorite players, so I'm a little biased. But two, we keep our receiving core together and we get one more year to put it all together, make a run. I doubt we can make a run, but it would be nice. Moving on from my team, we're gonna go to my co-host Dan's team with the Giants. Dan, you want to take us over on this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna sum up the biggest signing right now. Kenny Golladay. This was the best move that the Giants probably could have made because they had Golden Tate last season, but they didn't have that star, wide receiver one out there. And now they've got it in Kenny Golladay. And I forget who it was who posted this tweet, and I give all credit to them. But there's a good chance that Kenny Golladay could make Daniel Jones the Daniel Jones that he was expected to be from within the Giants organization. We saw it happen with Plaxico Burress and Eli Manning. So hopefully now the same thing can happen between Golladay and Jones. Another signing that they made was Kyle Rudolph, tight end from the Minnesota Vikings, now a New York Giant. Personally, I'm a big fan of this signing. Look, I know that he has not made some good catches last season, but Evan Engram, I still think he's a decent tight end. However, just a little bit on the inconsistent side. If he catches that ball against the Eagles, the Giants are making it to the playoffs. But there are definitely times where he has definitely been needed and he's stepped up and he's gained some yards and made some catches. And probably the last big signing that the Giants made was cornerback Adoree Jackson. So I'm looking forward to see if there's anything left that the Giants are still going to do. But from what I've seen so far, even wide receiver John Ross, I love the moves that they're making.
Yeah, the Giants have made some Giants have made some great moves. I think Kenny Golladay could definitely make Daniel Jones a great quarterback. Maybe not a great quarterback, but let's just say a usable fantasy quarterback.
And definitely better than he is now.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think Evan Ingram's a lot more than a little inconsistent. If Evan Ingram can keep his hands on the ball, he's easily a top 10 tight end in the league. I mean, he's got the speed, he's got the size. He's a great player. If he could just keep his hands on the ball, he's a huge jump ball threat, more of a versatile threat, like a wide out kind of player if he can keep his hands on the ball.
Right.
I like the John Ross signing. He's still pretty young, still has a lot of potential. Just probably has to mature a little bit, just like a whole lot of young receivers do. If we want to talk about Chase Claypool real quick, the video of him getting in a bar fight. You guys see that?
No, yeah, I did see that.
Actually,
that
was, I did. It was a couple weeks ago, right?
No,
it was a couple days ago. I think it was yesterday.
TMZ put out a video of Chase Claypool in a bar fight. It looked really bad.
There was 8 guys.
There was a whole bunch of people. One, why are you at a bar during the middle of a pandemic? That just doesn't make sense. I get it, live your life, but it's not smart. But also during the video, about 30 seconds in, you can see Claypool maybe step on, kick somebody while they're on the ground. So I mean, it's not a good look. And it probably gonna get suspended at a game or two, but that's just not a good look. But back to John Ross, I think John Ross could be a great, a very serviceable receiver in this league. Just trying to put weapons around Daniel Jones to make it easier to pass the ball, and then that'll open up the field for Saquon.
Not to mention they still have Sterling Shepard as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Sterling Shepard. I'm more of a fan of what's his name, Darius Slayton. I love Darius Slayton. I mean,
I feel like he was such an underrated receiver last year. Everybody kept talking about Engram and Shepard. I thought that Darius Slayton made some of the best catches that season.
I mean, Darius Slayton since his rookie year has been one of the better receivers on the Giants. It's not saying much. I'd be one of the better receivers on the Giants these past 2 years, but still. Moving out of the Giants to our third co-host, Matt's favorite team, Chicago Bears. Losing your franchise quarterback. How did that make you feel?
Hating Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Terrible move. Yeah. Not a fan. As expected, we lost Mitch, but we wanted D-Watt. We wanted Wilson, but I think the D-Watt talks are on hold for a while now. Whatever is going on with him. Don't really need to get into that. But Russell Wilson, I think those trade rumors are just dying. And I guess we got Andy Dalton, so not a fan favorite. I know a lot of Bears fans are upset, but got to deal with it. So,
I mean, you guys looking at it right now. I mean, I completely forgot you guys waived Kyle Fuller.
Also a huge loss.
Yeah, like that doesn't. He had a lot of value. Like he's a solid corner.
He lost a lot of his talent. He's getting slower. He can't match up against Devontae Adams at all. We have Jalen Johnson, who's young and up and coming. His potential is through the roof. So, I mean, for now, I'm not a fan of that move, but we're freed up cap for someone. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe a big trade in the future, but we have the draft coming up in a few weeks. So,
yeah,
see what goes on there.
I'm excited to focus on the draft, our next podcast. Like, I'm a huge draft guy. You guys know this. I've been excited to talk about the draft for a minute. And this is definitely the draft that I've done the most research on. What's his name from Penn State just ran
Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons just ran a 4.39, unofficial 4.39. So it was probably closer to a 4.45 or 4.49 kind of time. But still, like speed at edge. Ooh, that'll be crazy. I'll probably play interior though.
I was looking at, I think it was Mel Kiper's mock draft, his 2.0 mock draft the other day.
Yeah.
And he had Parsons going 9 to the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping that falls. Look, I'm biased because I'm sitting in a Penn State dorm right now, but I would love for the Giants to be able to take him, because at first I would think that there's a chance that the Giants would try to go after Jalen Waddle from Alabama, but after signing Ross and Golladay, there's almost he's not necessary. I'd rather get more strength in another position, either him or I forget what the kid's name from Florida is. But he's another good edge as well.
Gregory Rousseau.
Yes, yeah. Gregory Rousseau.
Yeah, Gregory Rousseau's good. But I completely disagree. I think if Jalen Waddle is there for the Giants, you have to take him. I mean, Kenny Golladay is good. John Ross are good, but do they really fit your timeline is what you got to think. Obviously, you have more holes. You got all of your O-line that you got to fix. I mean, you drafted Andrew Thomas last year, and he turned out to be one of the worst tackles in the whole draft, let alone the first round.
He had such a rough first. I will say he had a really bad season last year, but the last couple of games, though, he did start to pick it up. So I'm hoping that he can kind of build off of that momentum. It sucks that he started to pick up towards the end of the season, because then they go on a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that he can somehow find, who knows, maybe he did something differently, and if he did, maybe he can do it again. I still think that there's potential in him. It would be very upsetting though if they take Andrew Thomas over Simmons that in last year's draft.
I mean, Isaiah Simmons has not been used correctly in the NFL. I mean, towards the end of the season, used a little bit better, but you got to play him at more of a linebacker position than a safety position, maybe even an outside linebacker position where he has a chance to rush a quarterback. But I mean, his size and his speed, you should play him in the middle of the field, not over the top, not on the edge. You should play him in middle coverage. But the Giants could definitely use another tackle. It'd be dumb to give up on Andrew Thomas. I mean, he came into the NFL not being able to run block, being a good pass blocker. And then he started his first game being not good at both. Yeah. So it was just kind of tough. But we've talked about the Giants for too long. Let's move on to the complete opposite side of the spectrum, one of the best teams in the league, the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, they waived Mitchell Schwartz. It's crazy that they waived their best tackle, but maybe his injury was worse than expected. That's one of the big reasons they lost the Super Bowl. They had no protection, but they kind of fixed that. They signed Joe Thuney.
And Kyle Long. So
did they get Kyle Long too?
Yeah, he came out of retirement, ex-Bear, and joined the Chiefs. So
that's crazy. But they got Thuney for about 16 a year, 5 years, 80 mil. I think it's a great signing. I mean, we'll get down to the Patriots later, who probably made the best free agent moves the whole year out of every team. But I mean, picking up a great guard to protect for Mahomes and a guard that has versatility, like you might be able to actually move him to tackle, depending on his speed, like how fast he can move. But he's solid. Like he's really good. Funny you guys want to pick up real quick. You guys feel anything about the Joe Thuney signing, or just that it's solid?
It's a good signing. I don't really have much to say about it besides that.
Yeah, it's not really flashy. It's just, protection for the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, whatever team got Thuney's winning, so doesn't matter how much money it is. He's well worth it.
Yeah.
Danny, can I move on to an interesting signing that I thought was? I mean, it could work out if something were to go wrong.
Just pick it up,
and Matt, what are your thoughts? I mean, Mitch Trubisky to the Bills.
Yeah, that was weird. I thought Mitch would get a starting role somewhere, and he ends up taking a backup spot to Josh Allen, who had one of like the best QB seasons last season. So that's crazy. Obviously I wanted him to shine somewhere else. I don't even know where he was going to go, but just seeing the Bills was weird. Maybe they'll use him like Taysom Hill, but I doubt it. I just think he's going to be the backup.
I mean, Mitch has the athletic ability that he could be moved to like a tight end position on certain plays, like wildcat kind of plays, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, I just think it's tough for him to take a backup role. I didn't expect him to be a starter. On most teams, like where would he go to be a starter? Maybe the Saints, but they just paid Taysom Hill a ton of money to be their starter. So
and they still have Jameis. So
they still have Jameis. I mean, I think Mitch is better than Jameis, but still.
Oh yeah.
There's not a realistic scene there where he'd be a starter.
I mean, maybe on the 49ers, I could see him doing well in the 49ers, actually. He's a lot better than Garoppolo.
All he has to do is snap the ball and hand it off. So
exactly. And Shanahan's offensive game plan would work so well with Mitch. I'm surprised the Niners didn't make a move.
That's fair.
But with him going to Buffalo, it almost makes you seem as though they're going to be giving up on a young quarterback in their system who's got potential, because they just took Jake Fromm from Georgia in the last draft, and they're already getting somebody who's got NFL experience to back up Allen.
Well, I mean, you kind of need a quarterback as your backup to have experience, especially if Josh Allen goes down with an injury. I'm sure the Bills would rather have Trubisky take over the spot than Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm came into the draft being a solid quarterback, definitely not a starter his first year, maybe in the right system. But I think you don't want a quarterback with no experience to be your backup, especially if you're a team like the Bills that can contend.
I get that. I'm surprised. I mean, first off, I'm surprised that he went in the draft as late as he did. But so I wonder if they'll plan on moving him out eventually. I'd like to see a little bit of success out of him. Even if Jake Fromm winds up being just a career backup quarterback, I'd like to see him be somewhat successful.
I mean, I'd like to see anybody be successful, of course. There's no people in the NFL that I'm, hating on. I just don't think Jake Fromm really has the potential to be a starting quarterback. Like you said, a career backup. I mean, guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick and Nick Foles have made careers out of being a backup, like a solid backup. So that's definitely possible. But like I said before, a team that made a ton of moves, the Patriots. Patriots are definitely the winners of the free agency. They signed possibly the two best tight ends in free agency with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, in Belichick's system, I think they're just going to shine. They re-signed Cam Newton. They re-signed David Andrews. They traded for Trent Brown. They made a whole lot of moves. They got Matthew Judon. They got Kyle Van Noy. It's just insane. They recently re-signed James White, who I think is still pretty solid running back.
I love James White.
He's not used a lot, but I think if he is used, he's solid.
I think he's the best running back on that team.
Yeah, I mean, that's not far off to say. I mean, who's Rex Burkhead's going to contend him?
Yeah.
They have a tough running back
situation.
They have a tough running back situation. But all I can really say is I think that a Patriots Buccaneers Super Bowl is going to be fun to watch next season.
No.
Oh, come on. You're not going to give it to Cam? Come on. You don't think Cam with this protection, these weapons? Oh, Cam's going to come with a vengeance, man.
Yeah. I mean, back to the old school days with Gronk and Hernandez. The 2 tight end system is back in New England, so that's cool to see. But Super Bowl, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Hey, I mean, you gotta give him a shot. With Belichick as a quarterback, Cam Newton hopefully staying healthy this season. Maybe if they draft a running back.
Or maybe Mac Jones takes his spot. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not very high on Mac Jones.
I am.
I mean, I could see the Patriots getting in a wild card position. I just don't know if I see them getting super far in the playoffs. Besides that, nevertheless, the Super Bowl.
I mean, who's going to contest their division next year? Perfect segue. The Jets. They've made moves. They got
You got some nice receivers.
They got Corey Davis. Let me just pull that up super fast. I know they got Corey Davis. What other receiver did they sign?
They got Keenan Cole from the Jaguars. He's pretty good.
He's solid. He's definitely serviceable. Nothing too shiny with him. Let's see. They got another guy. I forget who it was. They got Tevin Coleman. I think Tevin Coleman's solid.
You just got Tevin Coleman?
Yeah.
That's dope. I love Tevin Coleman. That's a good signing.
I think that's a pretty solid signing. I thought they got another receiver. But either way, Corey Davis is a huge signing.
Oh yeah.
Especially if they keep Sam Darnold and maybe trade. I think there's a good chance they trade their pick.
And then they select Wilson in the draft.
Who?
Zach Wilson?
Oh no. If they trade their pick, they're not getting Zach Wilson.
No, I think they're trading Darnold and they're keeping that pick. And
they're got you. All right, I was confused for a second.
I don't think they give up on Darnold. I think they take the Heisman boy. I think they take Devontae Smith.
Ooh, I love Devonta Smith.
I like Devonta Smith.
There's some concerns though.
The Slim Reaper.
Yeah, I don't think there's any concerns with him. I mean, Chad Ochocinco came out and said, this man is built different and not in height and size.
And that's from Ochocinco, so that means a lot.
That means a lot. I love Ochocinco. I mean, even as a Steelers fan, he's just great.
And Desmond Howard had a lot good to say about him too, considering the fact that Howard was the last wide receiver to win the Heisman before Smith just did it this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a solid possibility the Jets trade back into the draft. I mean, with the number 2 pick, you're in a very quarterback-heavy draft class, which is great. I mean, you got 4 quarterbacks who could be taken top 4, like if the trades work out that way. I mean, QB, the top 4 quarterbacks are, I mean, you got my bad, look at that up. You got Trevor Lawrence as number 1, and then you got a 2A, 2B, 2C situation. Like, you cannot go wrong with any of the other 3 quarterbacks at any pick. Like, they're just.
I think Trey Lance is risky, but he's a stud.
I mean, he's a stud. I think he's better than Justin Fields.
Oh yeah, I agree. I'm not a big fan of Fields. I don't know.
I think Fields can definitely translate to the NFL like pretty well, especially in the way the league is going of more mobile quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. But he's still an accurate quarterback. I just think Trey Lance is better because the arm talent is so, like, in my opinion, is so much better.
Yeah.
Man, like, he can really hit the passes. If you watch the tape, he's great. But yeah, real shot that the Jets get a lot of assets for that pick and then can really move in this season. Let's see, who's another guy? Shaq Griffin to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh. Oh, right.
Jaguars,
right.
I completely blanked on their name for a second. That's a huge signing. I mean, you're putting another young cornerback. He's 26. You're putting him in a system where you're going to have the number 1 pick, and then you're going to have more assets to, this season's not going to be good for them. But in the future, they can definitely build off this free agent class and this draft class so well and just push themselves into a great spot in the future. Y'all got nothing to say about that? Nothing to say about Shaq Griffin?
Yeah, good signing. The Jaguars also signed another former Bear, Roy Robertson Harris, another great signing. Jaguars went I think they signed another defensive player. They're building up that defense.
Yeah, I mean, I like Jacksonville's chances, not this season, but in the future, to be very good.
Oh yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me if they're now building up the defense that they could see how I just blanked on his name. Lawrence does in his rookie season, so that they know what kind of pieces they need to need around him and how to properly build.
I completely feel you, and it's super important to put a good defense with a good quarterback, because a quarterback isn't your whole team. It might be the most important position on your team, but it's only 50% of play. Did we talk about JJ Watt to the Cardinals?
Yeah, we went over that.
Yes, we did.
All right, gotcha. I completely forgot.
Did you guys hear that really quickly before we move on? Did you guys hear that story that he had in one of his first press conferences? I think it was his first press conference as a Cardinal. He had because he wanted to do it himself, right? He didn't want some NFL insider reporting it. He wanted to be the one to break the news. So apparently it was this whole big, I don't even know if fiasco is the right word, but he had it like shipped to one of his brother's friends who like drove it over there because he was so worried about the people at the NFL shop seeing that it was going to JJ Watt and that it was an Arizona Cardinals shirt.
Oh, I did not hear
story.
that. That's actually pretty cool. A signing that hurt me as a Steelers fan was Mike Hilton. I mean, he left. He went to the Bengals on a 3-year deal. Pretty sure it was like 3 years, 12 mil, something like that.
Damn.
Oh no, never mind. It was like it's 4 years, guaranteed. It's 4 years, 6 mil a year. So it's 24 mil. But it really hurts watching one of our best corners go to the Bengals. We re-signed Cam Sutton, who I think is so good. He's going to be our barrier corner this year. He's perfect in coverage. He had a great season covering, he really jumped up in quality of play. And re-signing him, we got him 2 years, 9 mil. Which, I mean, that's solid money. Like, you can't really complain about that kind of contract for a guy like him.
No.
He's so, like, he was, in my opinion, our most important free agent. Mike Hilton was definitely number 2. But also, I don't know if another team's going to use Mike Hilton the way we did. Mike Hilton's a nickel cornerback, and I don't know if the Bengals really have the system to prioritize a nickel cornerback. You know what I mean? Just kind of odd to me. Are we missing
Bengals
anyone?
Actually, they got Trey Hendrickson, I think, too.
Yeah.
They got another safety, I think. Like, the Bengals, like, low-key went off.
Yeah, they did get Trey Hendrickson. I didn't think that was a big deal, in my opinion.
No, he did great last season.
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. He had a great season, but I just think that was because of the situation he was put in. Cam Jordan created most of the sacks he got, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
You got to look
things.
at. Gotcha.
Sorry, go ahead.
All right. You got to look at pressures. That's probably that. In my opinion, that's the most important edge stat. I mean, quarterback pressures is really how you're affecting the game. Cam Jordan really created most of the opportunities that Trey Hendrickson got last season. So, I mean, we got to see him in a different situation. Go ahead, Dan.
There's 2 moves that I know that we haven't talked about, and one of them was actually a trade, but I still think we should talk about it because it's really a step in the right direction, in my opinion, for this team. The Indianapolis Colts getting Carson Wentz.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's a great trade for both sides, honestly. I mean, the Eagles move on from a quarterback who does not fit their situation at all. And the Colts get a competent quarterback. I think Carson Wentz is definitely serviceable at this point in his career. He's not that old. I think he's 28. He's 27, 28, 29, that range. But since his MVP type season, he's lowered in quality every year. And he's 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might have just been because the situation put around him in Philly. I mean, it must have hurt him so bad to get injured and then watch his backup win a Super Bowl. I mean, great feeling watching your team win a Super Bowl, but not being able to play in it must have been such a different kind of pain.
And then getting a statue of that quarterback in the middle, that should have been like you, and like
exactly
having being the backup, just it hurts mentally.
Mm-hmm, exactly. It must have felt a different kind of pain that we can't even comprehend.
Yeah.
I mean, because Eagles, what they get back? They got back. Was it a second or third?
Yeah, I think they got a
I believe
second.
it was a second. Yeah.
I think they got a second and like a compensatory pick. I think it's a good trade. Carson Wentz, even already like right after the trade came out, he reached out to his new teammates, which I think is a great leadership thing to do. And the Colts losing Phillip Rivers, they needed a quarterback. That's just simple. Phillip Rivers wasn't the answer for last season. I think if they had a better quarterback, they would have been in a better position.
I mean, they did really well for what they had with Phillip Rivers. It almost makes you think about how much better they're going to do with Carson Wentz. And the biggest thing about Carson Wentz going to the Colts is they've got that stacked offensive line. And last time that we saw Carson Wentz with an offensive line, he led the Eagles to the playoffs. And however many games into in the playoffs that he actually did he played what, one playoff game that season?
I think it was one.
I think it was one.
I don't think it was. Yeah, I think he played one. I think he tore his ACL in the first game, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
think. It was actually in the regular season. I don't think he played at all in the playoffs.
I could search it up right
because I feel like at the very least, if it wasn't one, then if he didn't even play in one game, then it might have been week like 14, 15.
December. It was he tore his ACL in December. So it was before the playoffs.
Yeah, that's terrible.
What was I gonna say? The Colts made some moves though. Pretty sure they re-signed Marlon Mack.
They did, and they re-signed T.Y. Hilton as well.
Yeah, they got him back. Wasn't T.Y. on a different team last year?
No, he's always been on a Colt.
I don't think so. No.
My brain is not moving fast today. They re-signed Xavier Rhodes, who had a very good
season.
Very good end to the season last year. I mean, ever since he had his like one breakout year, he's been kind of not good. But last season he actually played really well. Let's see, what was his
former Viking, right? Xavier Rhodes?
Viking. Yeah, we got him 1 year, $6.5 million. That's a good signing.
Great budget signing, yeah.
I mean, they still have Malik Hooker as a free agent, which I think they should re-sign. But it's going to be interesting to see how they run their backfield next year because they have 3 serviceable running backs. They got Marlon back, they have Nyheim Hines, and they have Jonathan Taylor. So it's gonna be an interesting season to watch for Colts fans.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be there's a lot up in the air right now. Like you never know.
You guys want to move on to people that aren't signed yet? I mean, we didn't talk about Trent Williams becoming the highest paid offensive lineman ever, which I don't really think is news because he got $100,000 more than David Bakhtiari.
Yeah.
It's obviously a good signing because Trent Williams is one of the best tackles in the league, but he's also like 34 years old, so
yeah,
might have been a waste of money. See, we'll see how long he plays. But there are a lot of good free agents that haven't been signed yet. So let's just real quick. I'll say some names. You guys tell me what teams could sign them or what teams should sign them in your opinion. Alex Smith. He just got comeback player of the year. He's still a solid, at least backup quarterback in the league. Any teams you guys think could use a backup quarterback right now?
I think he retires.
Ooh.
I said he retires. Like the injury that he suffered was just probably like one of the worst injuries like I've seen and that all sports fans have seen. So I think it's safe for him to retire, but he wants to play, so
yeah, he does want to play. I think maybe a backup on like a contending team like the Patriots.
Maybe, or the Cowboys. You don't know.
Cowboys, I could see the Cowboys.
Oh, the Cowboys could be a good fit.
Dak Prescott coming off his injury, I think that could be a good move because they had quarterback issues last year.
Is it a good idea though? I'm realizing now to have, QB1 and QB2 be 2 quarterbacks that had serious injuries within the last 3 years.
I mean, Alex Smith came back and played pretty solid. So I think it wouldn't hurt to have him come in, as a backup, especially if Dak Prescott gets injured.
Trying to think, if the Eagles didn't sign Joe Flacco, I would say maybe there as well.
That would have been a solid one actually. If because they're running Jalen Hurts this year.
Yeah.
Actually,
It's gonna be interesting.
I think they came out and said that they're not sold on Jalen Hurts yet.
Which makes no sense.
Makes absolutely no sense. I mean, he had a solid season.
He had a good showing, yeah. There's some things he needs to work on, but
he's a rookie quarterback.
It almost makes you wonder if they're going to be taking a quarterback in the draft this year.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's an Eagles move, so
I doubt it. I see them taking Kyle Pitts.
Ooh, love Kyle Pitts.
I love Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is one of my favorite players in the draft.
Yeah. Hopefully, if they do take a quarterback, though, they're smart and they wait until like one of the later rounds to go with one. You don't waste your first round pick on that.
If the Eagles are taking quarterback, you got to take it later in the draft. You cannot take it in the first. They got an early pick too, so you can not waste a.
I think they have 6.
Yeah, I think
they've got 6.
I think they have 6. You cannot waste that pick on a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wouldn't be a waste, of course, but you drafted a quarterback was Jalen Hurts a first round pick last year?
Second.
I was going to say second.
I thought it was.
Yeah, he was a second round pick.
But yeah, you cannot draft early quarterbacks 2 years in a row, especially if one of them still has a lot of potential to work out. Next guy, probably the biggest remaining one in my opinion, Jadeveon Clowney. Steelers freed up a lot of money. We can bring him in at edge. Could be the bias talking, but I mean, I like Alex Highsmith. Alex Highsmith in the little bit that he played last season showed off a lot. But I don't think it hurts to bring in one of the better edge rushers in the league to play opposite of TJ Watt,
Clowney got signed very late last offseason as well.
Mm-hmm.
He got signed like in the summer or something.
Yeah, he signed super late. Probably because he wants a lot of money, but I think he's worth a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, definitely. He definitely deserves it, but depends how much money we're talking.
Exactly. You guys think anybody really stands out as a place to sign him?
I mean, it would have been nice if the Giants would have been able to get him, but I think they've spent too much money thus far, and I don't think they're going to be able to establish a good contract with him that he'll agree with, unless it's like a 1-year deal and the Giants give him whatever it is that they have left.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of teams that got money left that are trying to win now, because he's 28 years old. He's not young, but he's not old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely in the prime of his pass rusher career. I mean, I would love to see him on the Chiefs. I don't know if they got the money to work that out. I really doubt they got the money to work that out. But
maybe take the pay cut. You don't know.
I doubt that. I mean,
oh yeah, Jadeveon Clowney you were talking about. Yeah,
exactly. Let's see, who's another guy?
I would love for the Bears to get him. I mean, we have money. We just released Fuller. We have.
You guys got
a lot of money.
Yeah, you freed up a lot of money. We got Melvin Ingram as a free agent. Melvin? I like Melvin Ingram.
Oh yeah, I love Melvin Ingram.
I think he's another big, pass rusher free agent. They have him listed as an outside linebacker, but he's more of an end.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see him not taking a lot of money this year.
Maybe like to a team like the Jets, the Jaguars.
I could see the Jaguars. I can maybe see the Jets, but the Jets have done so many D-line moves this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets actually stacked their D-line. Yeah, I'm not sure where he's going. Larry Fitz. I would love to just see him retire. I don't want him going to another team.
Yeah, I don't want him. I want him to always be known for that Cardinals jersey.
Which he will. No matter what team he goes to, he'll be known.
It's
as
just weird seeing guys
exactly,
like that.
Exactly. It'd be so weird seeing Larry Fitz in a Bengals jersey. You know what I mean?
Oh
like
yeah, that's just
like something like that. Like in a Patriots jersey. Like it just doesn't work.
Yeah, like Larry Fitz in a Jets jersey would just burn my eyes.
Larry Fitz in any jersey would burn my eyes. It's not a Cardinals jersey. I would love to just either he resigns for the year or he retires.
Like I'd hate for his last season to be played in front of no fans, but I mean,
yeah, he doesn't.
I think this season is going to be filled with fans. So.
Oh yeah, this upcoming season, I would be surprised if like the first 8 games for every team didn't sell out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got fans, diehard fans that didn't get to see their teams play last year. Nah, I know I'm going to a Steelers game next year, so
I might be joining you. I don't know.
Yeah, Steelers Bears play in Pittsburgh.
Oh, definitely going to see the Bears lose there.
Yeah.
Definitely be there for that.
I'm not sure. We can move and go see the Ben Roethlisberger die by the hands of Khalil Mack, but
I would also like to see that, but
I mean, if I'm at school for that game, I'm only like a 2-hour drive from Pittsburgh.
I mean,
I think I'm not that far either. So
we get a
Ballbusters podcast
vlogs.
live from Heinz Stadium
Ooh.
or Heinz Field.
Ballbuster vlogs.
Ooh.
I mean, I got a camera.
Oh,
Y'all stay tuned.
Okay.
Y'all stay tuned.
that'd be
Might
dope.
have to
That'd be
take
dope.
Might have to take a road trip. Richard Sherman, still a free agent.
Nah.
I don't really see him making a big difference on any team he plays for anymore. He's 33.
Yeah,
Maybe you move him to safety, put him over the top, play him in a zone, because Richard Sherman's never been a man corner. He's always been a zone corner. You stick him at safety, he could definitely make a kind of a difference, especially if you have a hole. What teams need safeties? Let's think about it.
I mean, every team needs some solid secondary depth. So
I mean, I could see. I keep bringing up the team, but I can see a Chiefs move. Richard Sherman's not going to demand a lot of money. You play him on the other side of Tyrann Mathieu.
yeah, I can see that too. It's a good call.
If you moved him over to safety, that'd be a pretty stacked 1-2.
Exactly.
That'd be great.
It would be a great move, especially if you move him to safety. Speaking of Chiefs, Sami Watkins is still a free agent. Sami Watkins could definitely make a difference on the team, especially as a second or third receiver.
He met up with the Colts today, so.
Oh, did he?
I think he did.
Oh, wait, where did we were talking about it pre-podcast? I completely forgot. Matt Breida signed somewhere. Jets. Matt Breida signed with the Jets. I think that's a great signing. They had a huge role at running back.
The Jets got Matt Breida?
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, the Jets getting Matt Breida is great to see. I mean, us being kind of local to Mad Life, I love going to see some Jets games. So
I love going to see most of their seats filled with the other team. It's hilarious. I went to a Steelers Jets game the year that Ben was hurt. So it was actually the game where Duck was starting and then Mason Rudolph came in after halftime because Duck was playing so bad.
That was a classic game.
Exactly. Every seat.
Fun.
I was in the upper deck. You know, I'm not big balling like that. Every seat in the upper deck was yellow. It was all Steelers fans. Nobody was a Jets fan up there. I mean, we had Jets fans obviously in the bowl, but not upper deck.
Yeah. I mean, that's not that bad to see because New York fans are pretty friendly.
Yeah, I mean,
but when you go to Philly, though, if you go to an Eagles game and
or Boston,
bring a weapon.
You're getting jumped.
Bring a knife, a bat. You don't know what's going on.
Just wear bulletproof vests. Just really hope.
I still think I need a T-shirt that says "I survived my trip to Fenway Park" wearing a Yankees hat.
Oh God,
you would have gotten jumped.
My neighbor.
It was the Yankees weren't even playing. It was Red Sox Twins, but my dad went on business and he took me with him. We went to the game and hell yeah, I'm wearing my Yankee hat.
I remember one time me and Matt went to a Nets Thunder game, and I'm obviously a huge Thunder fan, and I went in a D'Angelo Russell Nets jersey, but I was rooting for the Thunder the whole time. And we get out of the stadium, and I'm like, I don't want to get jumped. And I whisper at him, I'm like, oh, it's so bad that the Nets lost. Oh, it's so tough that Spencer Dinwiddie choked this game.
And Chris Paul just totally kicked it off.
Oh, Chris Paul in overtime just totally went crazy. Oh, it's so tough. Me in my head just like winning.
That was a great day.
That was such a fun day.
That was like right before like COVID hit, like a month before. We went to a
no. That was like
players.
It was like 2 months before.
Yeah, that was.
We got Deontay Burton to wave to us.
And Abdel Nader too gave us
Nader. He went
what a goat.
That was hype.
Going back to Sami Watkins really quickly.
Yeah, of course.
Two teams that I've got in mind for potential landing spots would be Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore did say they need
Baltimore.
They're not ready to splurge on a giant receiver that's like a free agent like Galladay or A-Rob, but they said they wanted like a low-key receiver that could like do the job. And I think Sami Watkins is perfect.
Yeah, Sami Watkins would really fit that system too. I mean, the Ravens really need receivers that can work after the catch, which I could definitely see them drafting a receiver. Like a Rashad Bateman kind of guy.
Ooh, good fit.
I think that'd be a great fit. But definitely Sami Watkins would fit so well. You get Sami Watkins to run short or mid routes and then just get him the ball. He can work after the catch. He's a workhorse. Before we end it off, you guys got any Oh, real Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley is a free agent. Still unsigned. What team needs a running back?
A backup role, maybe.
Exactly. Like he started as in Arizona.
No, he started in Atlanta.
Atlanta, my bad.
But then who played there? I think Ito Smith and someone else got a lot of the carries. Brian Hill, he did pretty well.
Yeah, Brian Hill. He was on my fantasy team for a minute.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's
Brian
how
Hill
bad that's how bad my fantasy team was.
Oh yes, the forfeit is coming. So.
Ooh, put that up on the personal channel.
Oh.
Y'all want to see that?
I want to see Danny dress up like Tinkerbell, maybe going to B-dubs.
Who knows? Y'all gonna have to watch it. But who's one free agent you guys want to sign to your team? Like
I want to bring Cordell Patterson back. I love Cordell.
Really, out of every free agent that's available,
I love Cordell. Like his vibe he brings to the Bears is just like full of love and energy. I want him back in the squad.
All right,
I don't know if he wants to come back, but just having him back would make my day. So,
Dan, you got anybody in mind that you want the Giants to sign?
I mean, like I said, I doubt that they have the money for it, but I would not mind Clowney at all.
Clowney would fit so well. You guys need a edge. Mm-hmm. You guys really need an edge. Like who's your ends? Who's your D line? I can't even think about it. I can't even think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back. It's been a minute since I've really taken a look.
Like that's not good. One guy I want to sign, if you want to keep thinking about it, Richard Sherman. In the system that Steelers run, we typically run. We ran a safety at linebacker last year. We can move Richard Sherman to we re-signed Robert Spillane, which I think was a great re-signing. We have Devin Bush hopefully being healthy for the season. But I mean, if we get Richard Sherman, we can either play him over the top and move Edmonds down into the box, or vice versa. I mean, either way, they both have size. I'd rather have Edmonds in the box. But I think Sherman would really fit Pittsburgh so well, especially with our holes in the secondary right now.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? I mean, I don't think there's much other stuff to talk about for football right now.
Really quickly,
that was
just
a great
football
summary.
Go ahead,
because you had said, I mean, we might not have stellar players on the end, but I know that on the D line we do have. We just re-signed. I completely forgot to talk about the Leonard Williams franchise tag earlier.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And they still have Dexter Lawrence from Clemson that they took like 2 years ago.
Couldn't even remember. Those guys are good.
People say that Leonard Williams was overpaid. I disagree. Give him however much money he wants. He's probably one of the best that we'll get at that position.
He's great.
He might be overpaid. I'm a big fan of Dexter Lawrence though. I think that guy has a lot of potential. He's really fast coming off the edge.
Yeah, and he's a good guy. Brings a lot of love to the Giants.
Exactly. He seems like a good locker room guy.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's all the time we got for football today. NBA trade deadline was today, so let's move on to that.
Ooh.
And we're back with basketball. Obviously today was the NBA trade deadline. As of recording, this is probably going to go up the day or two after. But we're recording after the trade deadlines ended, so hopefully all the trades are already made. We had some come out like right after the deadline. But big news: Nikola Vucevic got traded to the Chicago Bulls. I didn't see Vuce getting moved. Honestly, I saw maybe Aaron Gordon, maybe Terrence Ross. I did not see Vuce getting moved because Vuce has 3 years. So he's got this year, the year after, and then the year after. Still in his deal. He's not like an expiring contract.
And he's an all-star. So
all-star center, one of the best centers in the league. The full trade was Vucevic and Al-Farouq Aminu to the Bulls for Wendell Carter, Otto Porter, and 2 first-round picks. Obviously, Bulls are going all in for now. I think it's a huge Bulls dub. Bulls made a few trades today. I think it's huge Bulls W. But still, the Magic get solid pieces. They get 2 first-round picks from Chicago. Chicago always gets the 7th pick in the draft. It's just kind of synonymous with Chicago, is what it is. If they miss the playoffs, they're getting the 7th pick. But they get Wendell Carter, who's one of the better young centers in the league. He doesn't really have the size, but he really has the skill and the strength to be a good center in the league. And Otto Porter, solid player, but huge contract. There's a big reason he got moved. What do you guys think of this? I think it's great.
I think it's a huge W for for the Bulls. Like pair Levine up like with Vuce, and then that's that 2 all-star punch. That's great. Losing Wendell, I mean, but you're getting Vuce, so you know what I mean? Only W's.
It's tough to get rid of Wendell, especially when Chicago fans get a little attached to him. But I mean, you're getting an all-star to pair along your all-star. You know what I mean?
With
like
3 years left, like you said. So
exactly. Like
it's not like a rental situation.
And like especially late in games, the Bulls tend to get a little stagnant in their offense, which comes, they're young. They are a young team, but Vuce is great post-up player. I mean, if you get stagnant, Vuce will post a guy up and get a bucket for you. So that's a great trade. The Bulls are definitely making playoffs, in my opinion.
I would say it's pretty balanced too. I wouldn't say that one team gave up too much and another team was able to basically scrape together whatever they had laying around for an all-star.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, the 2 first-round picks is a lot, but you're getting a great center, so it's a good trade for both sides, in my opinion. Terrence Ross tweeted out after that trade.
Sad face, right? The tear.
A whole bunch of crying faces, and somebody replied, "What does this mean?" And Terrence said, "Means they might unload the truck." Lol.
Ooh.
So everybody expecting Magic trades. Nuggets fans got one. I believe it was R.J. Hampton,
Gary Harris,
and a first for Aaron Gordon. Yeah.
For AG himself.
Matt, how do you feel as the designated Nuggets
Love to
fan?
see it. Aaron Gordon is still really young. I believe he's 25. That's crazy, and he's a beast. Like, the lob threat, just like we needed like a power forward. Like we lost Jeremy. We have Millsap, who's like a good veteran, but bringing in like a young star like Gordon, like that's good.
Yeah, that's a good move. You got AG and JaVale as lob threats. That was the JaVale trade was like Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 second-round picks.
I love that trade. I hated Hartenstein and getting McGee.
Hartenstein's not a good center in the NBA. You trade 2 seconds, which are kind of valuable, but not that valuable. But dude, those outlet passes, those lob passes from Jokic to the bigs is gonna be so nice.
That's gonna be like super fun to watch.
Yeah.
Denver also got Gary Clark in that trade too. He's 26. He's young.
Who'd we get?
Gary Clark.
I don't even know that. Is that true?
Yeah, I didn't know that was part of the trade.
What I have is Gordon and Clark for Harris and Hampton and the 2025 first.
Ooh,
that's nice.
He got traded for how old is that kid? Is he
2025? That's
Did you get traded for a sophomore in high school or something?
I got traded for a sophomore.
Oh God.
I got some boys playing on the township basketball team right now that just got traded, so they got to start packing their bags, moving to Orlando. But another Magic trade that happened. Magic were really cleaning house. Evan Fournier got traded for almost literally a bag of saltine crackers. Two future second-round picks to the Boston Celtics. Huge W for the Celtics. The Celtics really needed some consistent scoring. I mean, you got 2 all-stars. You got Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who are great players. Kemba's not having a great season, but you could consider him as a 3rd all-star level kind of guy, which he has been consistently in his career. But Evan Fournier, most likely going to come off the bench, can really be that firepower. I mean, he's got one of the most consistent jump shots in the league. He can put the ball on the floor. He can move. Can't really defend, but that's not really what you need. That's not what you need as a Boston Celtics. Yeah, I think it's a great trade for him.
I think that's a great trade, especially that he got traded for like 2 cans of Pringles. So
yeah. Breaking news right now: Lamarcus Aldridge has been bought out officially by the Spurs.
Great news.
Going to
I think he's going to Miami.
Yeah. The Miami was the front runner. Completely forgot. Yeah, he's going to Miami.
He's going to that warm weather.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's gonna go be a backup big on a contending team. That's big. Another move: Victor Oladipo to the Heat. Speaking of Miami, pretty sure. Let's check out the trade real quick. Completely forget what was involved. If you got it pulled up, go ahead.
It was it was Victor Oladipo for Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk.
Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah, Kelly Olynyk.
And Houston draft swap.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he didn't get traded for what he's worth, but that's because he's on a 1-year deal, Like, that's not what Victor Oladipo is worth. Victor Oladipo is a solid third piece on a team, as he will be used. Maybe a primary ball handler, maybe a primary defender, but he's a third piece on a contending team. I think it's a great situation. He's in a place where he likes. There's news that he's really focusing on working out a multi-year extension. But the Heat are in a good position now. Didn't have to give up any of their pieces. Kyle Lowry didn't get traded to him, so they didn't have to give up Tyler Herro. They didn't have to give up Duncan Robinson. They still have their team. They're going to be mean like they were last year.
Pat Riley with that like 1,000
Brain.
IQ right there.
The brain.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Danny Ainge didn't pull anything off. Danny Ainge is a fraud. I'm kidding.
Timberwolves too. They needed that. They needed Aaron Gordon.
The Timberwolves need to trade Karl Anthony Towns, but
They need
that's
to get that haul from him.
that's
No, the
conversation
Thunder,
for a different
dude.
day.
Thunder looking tasty for Towns. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm holding some cards in my hand for some reason. That's what I'm saying. Karl Anthony Towns. I mean, perfect center to back up Moses Brown right now. I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah, Moses Brown.
Moses Brown looks hot right now. Pause. He's doing pretty
Pause.
good.
But Moses Brown might be the best center of all time. That's how it's looking.
These G League guys are stepping up this year. Like being like no, in all seriousness, like Kevin Porter Jr., Moses Brown, center on the Sixers, Tony
Bradley.
Bradley. I think he got
He's
traded today.
not on the Sixers anymore.
He just got
Good
traded.
segue.
Yo, he's been
You
going
know where
off.
he is? OKC. I'm so happy. We need these young
Pause.
bigs. Most of our bigs have been old. I mean, we got Mike Muscala still. I mean, it's nice as a Thunder fan to see that he didn't get traded. I'm a big Mike Muscala fan. But I mean, we're gonna give Tony Bradley rotational minutes, which Joel Embiid really wants us to trust the process and build around Tony Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
Possible. Just trade everybody. Trade Shea, trade Dort, trade Baze. Keep Tony Bradley.
Tony 1-on-5s.
Tony 1-on-5. He'd crush a team. Let's be honest.
What a stud.
I'm very kidding. I'm a huge Shea fan. Please don't trade him.
And Dort.
And Dort.
Thunder fans do overvalue Dort. Like he's worth at least
Overvalue.
first round picks.
Overvalue.
Dort, they like
Dort and Shea are
Dort is the
untouchable.
Lord and Savior of that franchise.
He is.
I mean, yeah, he's a big part. He's a big part.
Dort's clamping up everybody on the Nuggets. I'm telling you that much.
Whatever.
Dort would guard Nikola Jokic better than most centers in the NBA.
Yeah, Dort is a lockdown.
Dort's a lockdown defender. I think in an ideal world could be a third scoring option on a contending team. When the Thunder draft Cade, it's all that matters. Next trade, another Chicago one. They got Troy Brown and Mo Wagner, and Chicago gave up Chandler Hutchinson and Daniel Gafford. Huge W for Chicago. You get a young guy to come off the bench who is a good not good facilitator. Let's put
I
that out
believe
there.
Mo got traded again though.
Yeah, Mo got traded twice because he was traded to the Wizards. No, wait.
No, he's always on the Wizards.
No, he went to Boston.
Yeah. Mo went to Boston for Tice, right?
And then yeah, Tice is now a Bull.
Tice is now a Bull. Yeah, another big trade.
Chicago got a lot of money in that three-way deal as well.
Mm-hmm. Chicago's the big winner of the deadline for me.
Oh yeah.
But I think Troy Brown's a great scorer to come off the bench. He's young. He fits timeline. But that's not a huge deal to me, at least. Let's see. George Hill trade. We could talk about that real quick. That was a big trade. A 3-team trade. The Sixers get George Hill. The Knicks get Terrence Ferguson, and OKC gets Tony Bradley, Austin Rivers, and 2 second-round picks. OKC now has, I think it was 34 picks in the next 7 drafts, including 17 first-round picks.
That's crazy.
I think it's 17 in the next 5, which is crazy. I got you. But it's kind of crazy how OKC is really just putting together picks, and it makes me really happy. Big W for the Sixers also. What they gave up? They gave up Tony Bradley, Terrence Ferguson. Terrence Ferguson's not good. Let's throw that out there. I'm sorry, Dan. You are a Knicks fan here, but as a Thunder fan, I will tell you 100% honestly, Terrence Ferguson's not good. He's not going to be part of your future plans. He's not going to be part of your playoff plans.
I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't.
Maybe throw him in there, get him a flashy dunk. You never know.
A flashy jelly layup. That's like the only thing he's good for. But that's a big deal. Sixers take a huge dub. You get your facilitator that you've really wanted. You didn't have to overpay for him like you would have had to overpay for Kyle Lowry.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of crazy. Like I think that's a good 3-team trade. And OKC obviously gets everything that we've wanted. So a big trade, in my opinion. Blazers trade for Norman Powell. Norman Powell having an absolutely great year so far, being a good scoring option while OG Anunoby's been hurt. Came in, he started the year off the bench, but then started to start games after OG Anunoby went out. The Blazers trade for him, and they give up Gary Trent and Rodney Hood. I think that's a good trade for both sides.
Yeah, I agree.
Raptors get a young scorer in Gary Trent, and they get I wouldn't really call Rodney Hood a veteran, maybe at this point of his career, but he's seasoned. We'll call him seasoned.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty solid, pretty well balanced deal.
Mm-hmm.
Especially salary wise too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was a good deal for both sides, being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Any other big deals go on today? We talked about the Oladipo one.
Did we talk about Rondo going to the Clippers? Do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, the Lou Will swap.
Was it just a clean swap?
Second round picks and cash.
Yeah, I mean the Clippers had nothing to work with. All of their future is in OKC. So, but that's a good trade for the Clippers. You needed that point guard. Kawhi's been saying since the offseason they needed a point guard. They didn't go out and get one for some reason. But they trade a guy who's not having a good season in Lou Will. You trade some future assets, which will never matter if you win a championship. That's the big goal of the NBA. And you trade some cash to get a seasoned veteran point guard that could really help a contending team. And he showed that on the Bulls. Before he got injured, the Bulls were up 2-0 on the 1 seed as the 8th seed. But, I mean, that was years ago. I think the Bulls had D Wade. So that's crazy. But either way, I mean, Rondo's still a good piece to have if you're trying to contend and if you need a point guard. Him going to Atlanta never made sense to me, at least. Trae Young is never going to be Rajon Rondo. Rajon Rondo was never a shooter. Rajon Rondo was a defender and a facilitator. Trae Young is not a defender. So there's not much that Trae Young could learn from Rondo, in my opinion, besides the facilitating part. Let's see. Toronto cleared a bunch of roster spots. They got a bunch of second-round picks for Matt Thomas and Terrence Davis, which made everybody hope that Kyle Lowry was getting dealt, and he just wasn't. Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back. The next big trade was JJ Redick got dealt. JJ Redick is now on the Mavericks. The trade was, I believe, JJ Redick and Nico Melli for James Johnson, Wesley Owundu, and a second. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Big deal for the Mavericks. I mean, you get Luka Doncic, another piece to, pass the ball to, which is really all you need. And for the Pelicans, you get rid of JJ Redick. I mean, you don't really get much. Like, that's a big Mavericks win, in my opinion. Anything you guys want to say about that?
No, that is definitely a good move.
Yeah,
Anywhere
definitely.
where he went is just gaining an offensive threat.
Exactly.
Big time.
I think that was all the trades, but a big buyout was Andre Drummond.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure the news is official that he got bought out from the Cavs, and I could genuinely see him going to the Lakers.
Or the Celtics, or the Knicks.
I think the Knicks is the most likely, but I think that's the worst fit out of all of them.
Nah, I think he'd thrive in New York.
I think so too.
But you got to think about the spacing.
Mm-hmm.
Julius Randle, I mean, he just came off a game. He hit 7 threes. Like,
that's crazy.
That's an anomaly. That's an anomaly. Like, he's not gonna do that many more times. I'm a huge Julius Randle fan. I have been since he got moved to the Pelicans. Obviously, Dancy, Julius Randle fan. But you got Julius Randle back to the basket. Like, that's where he gets a lot of buckets. I mean, he's a point forward, the definition of it. But you got to really think about spacing. He's not a great passer. He's not going to throw those lobs to Andre Drummond. You don't really you got rid of Austin Rivers. You don't really got the big point guard anymore. I think the best fit's LA. where Andre Drummond literally has to do nothing but get rebounds. Like that will be his job. Get rebounds and maybe play a little defense. But I mean, I don't know. Dan, what do you think? You want Andre Drummond on the Knicks?
I mean, I feel like at this point, Drummond's a good vet to have on the team.
Mhm.
But at this point, I don't want to just go ahead and say that the Knicks should be taking whatever pieces that they can get, because it's not true, because they're starting to get on the right track. It's going slow, which isn't surprising, but they're going on the right track. I don't necessarily think getting Drummond would take them off of that track. I don't think it can. The only way it could hurt them is that if you pay him, you run out of money to pay somebody else that's better.
Well, Drummond's not going to get a big deal. He's getting bought out, so he's getting paid the rest of his contract with that team.
That's true.
With the Cavs. So buyout markets never get big contracts. They basically take a minimum deal to play for whatever team they sign for. The Knicks are just getting off with the car analogy. They were going in reverse for a long time, not getting good draft picks, not getting good free agent moves. They just put their car into drive. They're
right.
stepping off the brake right now. It's gonna take time for that car to speed up, but
they haven't put their foot on the gas pedal yet.
Yeah, exactly. But I also don't think that getting Andre Drummond puts the foot on the gas, because you still need time. I think the Knicks are about a year or maybe 2 years away from being probably their peak, because they're back to being a free agent destination with a winning season coming this year.
Right.
Most likely a playoff berth coming this year.
Hopefully.
Let's hope. We're all close. We want to go to a Knicks playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to the Garden and watch the Knicks win. I want to see MSG bumping.
Oh yeah.
But
I've actually never been to a Knicks game, so that'd be cool. Been to
Neither have
MSG
I.
for Ranger games,
I've
never
been
to a Knicks game.
Matt, your first game was a Knicks Nuggets game, right?
Yeah, it was on our Super Bowl actually. It was the
really?
Peyton Manning Super Bowl. It was a day game. It was fun.
Nice. I've went to 2 basketball games in my life. They were both Nets games. I would love to see the Garden. I've never been to the Garden. Maybe another Ball Busters vlog has to come.
Definitely.
But we'll see. We might have a. I'm not gonna say that. Never mind. We're just gonna drop that train of thought. But I don't think adding Andre Drummond really puts your foot on the gas. I think you wait.
No.
You wait out the season. I don't think it hurts the team. I think if they add him, go for it. You know what I mean? Just don't play him big minutes along with Julius Randle.
It's a risk that you can definitely take. There's not that much harm that could potentially happen in picking him up.
It's a low risk, high reward. I could see Andre Drummond really, if he picks it up on the defensive end, if he tries, I could see him winning you a playoff game.
Right.
So if the Knicks come out of the season with 2 playoff wins and losing in 6 games in the first round, that's not a loss of a season. That's still a W. You're gonna sign a free agent that wants to play in the mecca of basketball. But we've talked about the Knicks for too long.
Yeah.
We got any more basketball news coming out? We didn't talk about LeBron being out. I think it came out LeBron's done for a month, which is gonna really hurt the Lakers. I wanted to see the Lakers make a move because Anthony Davis is still out. I don't want this to be like LeBron's first season in LA, where they were the 4 seed, LeBron gets injured, and they drop out of the playoffs. I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah.
I doubt they drop.
The Nuggets go through the West though. That'd be LeBron-less. That'd be tough.
If the West is LeBron-less, that's so open. Because the Lakers are the favorite right now, but I could see LeBron-less, a Lakers-less playoff. I could see the Suns really making a push.
Oh, definitely.
And come playoff time, we're gonna have a little bold prediction episode closer to the playoffs. But little sneak peek. I think the Suns really have a chance to be contenders this year.
Yeah.
Like big ones, like big contenders. Might be a little biased because I love Chris Paul, but this could be the season.
Yeah,
maybe.
I wish the Suns brought Kelly Oubre back. Oh, yeah.
I wish. There was a lot of buzz around his name at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Inevitably didn't get traded.
Yeah.
But I think that's all the time we got for basketball. I don't want to keep wasting y'all's time. We're going to move on to news with Stoots.
Ooh.
And here we are with News with Studes. Today we're going to be talking hockey. Baseball will be coming on a later day as opening day is within a week from the day that we're recording this. So let's talk about the New York Rangers. Really successful lately. The Rangers have been playing some of their best hockey all season within these last 3, 4, 5 games. Let's start with the 9-0 shutout against the Flyers. First game with Chris Knobloch as the head coach, along with assistant. I feel like such a bad Rangers fan. I forget what that assistant coach's name, but former Ranger captain Chris Drury also behind the bench, while David Quinn and the usual Ranger staff is out right now on the COVID protocol. Alexander Georgiev looked great. I mean, a 9-0 shutout. Georgiev is the thing with Georgiev is he gets you a shutout or he lets in 4 goals. It almost seems like there's no in between. And also talking about that 9-0 shutout, Mika Zibanejad. We're gonna talk a little bit about him later, but he went off in that second period. I believe he tied the record for most points in a single period with 6, where he had the natural hat goal. 3, 2, 1. Where he had 6 points with the natural hat trick, and he also added 3 assists to that. Moving on to the 2-game series against the Capitals, the Rangers were a little quiet in the first game. They scored 1 goal in the first and didn't score for the rest of the game. Looked like it was on pace to be a 1-0 win, which it should have been, but unfortunately, Georgiev, for some reason, was out of position on those two rebounds that fell right in front of Ovechkin's stick, and he was able to just tap him right on into the net. Second game, they did a lot better, obviously. With I believe they won 3-1 on that second game. Despite the lack of goals, between those 3 games, the one against Philadelphia and the 2 against Washington, obviously not including the 9-0 shutout against the Flyers, there was a little bit of lack of goals, but they've been controlling almost every period they've played. I'd say 7 out of the 9 combined between Philadelphia and Washington. It would have been nice to have won both those games against Washington, but in that first one, Vitek Vanacek, stellar. He's having a good season so far. He's got 13 wins, a 2.66 goal against average, and a .911 save percentage. That's really good considering the fact that in the offseason, it was supposed to be Henrik Lundqvist and Samsonov competing for that starting role. Vanacek has been great this season so far, and it's probably, he's probably one of the biggest reasons why the Capitals are sitting close towards the top of the East Division right now. Let's talk about Mika Zibanejad. Oh my God. Rough start to the season. Started right before opening night for the Rangers. Actually, I believe he had COVID. He was on that COVID protocol list. So he had a rough start to the season, but he just absolutely kicked it up. And it was no surprise that he wound up being the NHL's 3rd star of the week. Not including the most recent game against Buffalo. Zibanejad totaled 4 goals and 4 assists for 8 points in 4 games, that going back to both games against Philadelphia and Washington. However, if you were to include his stats from the last game against Buffalo, which was an assist on Adam Fox's goal, ever since that 9-0 game over the Flyers, he's put up 4 goals, which is more than half of his total on the season of 7, 5 assists, which is more than a third of his total on the season of 13, and 9 points, which is just less than his season total of 20. Not to mention, he had a plus-minus of 7. One thing that kind of, you notice is that his recent success started the night of the first game with Chris Knobloch as the acting head coach of the Rangers while David Quinn was on the COVID protocol list. It almost makes you wonder if Mika doesn't like playing for David Quinn. There was a game between the Rangers and the Devils. I believe it was the game that the Rangers won 6-1. Quinn benched him for the first 10, almost 11 minutes of the second period. And without argument, Zibanejad clearly wasn't performing as well as everybody thought he would, considering the fact that he finished 5th in the league for goals with 41 last season. One thing that you have to wonder is if, him having COVID had anything to do with how he performed at the beginning of the season, because if there was, it clearly nothing's bothering him anymore. But yeah, like I said, it almost makes you wonder if he likes playing for Quinn or not. And considering the fact that a guy like him is performing like that with a potential dislike to a head coach, again, I'm not trying to make accusations or anything, but it almost makes you now wonder how some of the rest of the players on the Rangers feel about David Quinn. There's been talks on social media. Some people say that he's fine. Some people say he's got to go. It's been 3 years now since Jeff Gorton, wrote that letter saying that it was time for a rebuild and, let everybody know that some of their favorite players was going to be gone. And remember that they're like, we're looking for a head coach that's A, B, and C. They thought Quinn matched it. I'm pretty, Quinn had no prior NHL coaching experience. I believe he was the head coach at Boston College, not Boston University. I believe he was Boston College. So some people want him gone. I mean, I don't really know how I feel about it. I like where Chris Knobloch is now. I mean, he's had NHL coaching experience. I'm not sure if he was ever a head coach, but I know that he was the assistant coach of that Flyers team back in 2012 when the Rangers played in the Winter Classic that year in Citizens Bank Park. But moving on from the coaching staff, let's talk about the Rangers' most recent game against Buffalo. The Sabres, they struck first in the game with a goal early in the second period, but before that, nobody really had control of the game. But that would go on to change when the Rangers would score. And for the rest of the game, you can argue that the Rangers were in control, which is, you can say is the reason why they've had the recent success that they've been having. Perfect example of them taking control is that in the beginning of the second, the Sabres had the first 5 shots of the period, and the next 18 were 15-3 in favor of the Rangers. And certainly, if it wasn't for Keith Kincaid, the Rangers might lose this game. He really kept them in it. The biggest issue with that game against Buffalo is that they got too many chances at the front of the net. I'm pretty sure there was a backhand shot that rang off the post that was close to the crease. Jeff Skinner had that shot that Kincaid made, the incredible glove save that could be nominated for Save of the Year. And then, that first goal that the Sabres scored, there are 2 guys in front of Kincaid while there's 2 Sabres to Kincaid's right, and they're jabbing at the puck, and the Rangers, I feel like in that case, stop jabbing at the puck and try to get those guys away from Kincaid. That's the one similarity that all the opportunities for the Sabres had in common was that they were in a couple feet of the crease, and that's what the Rangers defense really needed to work on was getting players away from the net. And hopefully we see a little bit of an increase in that in tonight's game against Philadelphia. But before we talk about the goals that the Rangers scored, let's continue to talk about those goals that the Rangers gave up. That first goal, like I already said it, clean up the defense when it comes to players rushing the net. The second goal was almost the same issue as the first. The defense in front of the net was a little weak, setting up for a one-timer from Dylan Cousins. And the third goal was one of those unfortunate ones. A little bit of a sloppy play with the turnover at the blue line when they went to go change lines. Unfortunately, you wish Kincaid could have made that save, but unfortunately he doesn't. Let's move on to the Rangers offense. The first thing we need to talk about, shoot the puck. This team sometimes passes too much, which I get. Sometimes it's actual playmaking, and it works a lot. We see it on the power play. But other times, it's just having a team of selfless players. Strome last night had the puck right in front of him with half the net open, but he took too long to shoot the puck. I'd rather you shoot the puck and miss the net than not shoot at all. Another example was Zibanejad had the puck right at the front of the slot, right in front of Tokarski, and rather than taking the shot, he passed it out to Panarin. Let's talk about Capo Caco really quickly. Boy, oh boy, did Capo Caco finally get the monkey off of his back. He scored his first goal in 19 games that night. But however, despite only putting up 4 points before that game, Caco's probably been one of the more noticeable players on the ice. Later in the period, Kreider scores a power play goal, his first of the game. And I just remember thinking that's what happens when you shoot when you get to when the puck gets into the slot and you shoot. Panarin got 2 assists because he sent it to the front of the net. He did it from 2 locations too. He assisted on Kako's goal where he passed from coming behind the net, and then on Kreider's from closer towards the point, he sent it all the way up to the slot, and Kreider was able to just kiss it right off of his stick past Tokarski. Then Adam Fox, playing in his 100th career NHL game, scores a goal. And first off, thank God that Zibanejad shot the puck. And I'm not singling out Zibanejad. It could have been literally anybody, because if they try to pass that puck once more, that goal doesn't happen. And that's the passing that you like to see from the New York Rangers. It's that clean tic-tac-toe, which leads to Fox tucking the rebound. And let's just talk about Adam Fox for just 1 second. Sam Rosen said it best. Adam Fox was only playing in his 100th career NHL game, but the way that he plays, he's playing as though it was his 1000th. Probably one of the best defensemen that I've seen on the Rangers in a while. I'm so excited to see the future of the defense between him and Keandre Miller. A lot of potential between the two of them there. And then, of course, the game-winning goal that came off the stick of Kreider. Ryan Strome, thank you for being a good example as to why sometimes he's got to shoot the puck and put it on net. He recognizes that he's got 2 guys down low, and it's not just anybody. It's Mika Zibanejad and Chris Kreider, 2 players that have been on fire lately. And he shoots for a rebound that Kreider is able to put in the net before it even touches the ice after bouncing off of Tokarski. So let's talk a little post-game. Chris Knobloch improved his record as the Rangers head coach to 3-1. The New York Islanders that same night beat the Flyers in overtime, held the Flyers to just gaining 1 point. So now the Rangers trail by 2 for 5th place in the East Division. The Flyers currently holding at 34 points, and the Rangers just trailing with 32. Next game tonight against the Flyers, most likely going to be Chris Knobloch's final game behind the bench. It's been that 10 days that's required under the NHL rulebook with COVID protocol. Vitaly Kravtsov, one of the top Rangers prospects, could be playing soon. Probably not going to be playing against Philadelphia tonight, potentially against Saturday. I don't think anything has been said about him playing tonight. Chris Knobloch earlier said that it wasn't his decision. It was up to David Quinn. He had his first practice with the Rangers Tuesday morning. He just needed to get through a cardiac screening, and that was his first bit of action. He didn't practice with the main squad yet. They had the day off, but he practiced with some of the extras. But then on Wednesday morning, he had that practice with everybody else, and they announced that everybody who was at practice that morning was going to be coming on the road trip with them. So I would anticipate on potentially seeing the Rangers' top prospect playing most likely on Saturday against the Flyers. I believe they play on Saturday. Capo Caco also I want to talk about, because you got to make sure that you've got a space for Kravtsov, and I wonder if he might fill in on the third line. Caco originally started in that game against Buffalo. He started on the third line with Lafreniere and Philip Hedl, but later Knobloch switched it up and he replaced him with Colin Blackwell on the second, or Caco replaced Blackwell on the second line, and he wound up playing with Artemi Panarin and Ryan Strome. And you wonder if this is going to be the new normal. That third line still stays the kid line. It's going to, except rather than Caco on that right wing, it's going to be Lafreniere, Hedl, and Vitaly Kravtsov. Igor Shesterkin is back from injury. He'll be starting tonight for the Flyers. Big player for the Rangers. Good to have him back between the pipes. I think that after this, they'll probably go back to Shesterkin being the starter, and Georgiev will probably back up. which I hate to say it, no offense to Georgiev or anything, but I almost wish that Kincaid was the backup. He's been playing great lately. Excited to see, more from him on days where Shesterkin or Georgiev get a day off. But if the Rangers are able to squeeze in past Pittsburgh, in the future for that 4th playoff spot, this is a team that, even if they don't make it past the first round, they're not going down without a fight. And I'm really looking forward to this game against Philadelphia tonight. Need to win it to tie, and then hopefully they can win on Saturday as well, and have full ownership of that 5th place spot in the East.
Thank you guys for watching. That's all the time we got for today. Thank you to my co-hosts Dan and Matt for joining us. Matt actually had to dip a little early today, but it is what it is. We still got everything out that we had to get out. We'll be back next week with some more news. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.
Bye.